All right. So let's get into the final section of this book. Outcomes and factors is what I understood that the final few sections of the chapters, it talks more about what are the contributing factors. So once you connect to the universe and you start experiencing this energy and you start experiencing trust, faith, and surrender, what are the sort of outcomes that you would experience? So the first and foremost is certainty. So this is something that I have observed from people who are, very much devoted to their religious practices, who just say that, I pray to her every day. I pray to this goddess every day. She will take care of me. I have nothing to worry about. You have that sense of, complete certainty. Like, I have nothing to worry about. She will take care of me. She will take care of all my problems, right? You have seen this um, conveyed by, family elders, or, your own parents or grandparents. So that is the sort of certainty, that is the sort of assurance they feel when they connect to the Supreme, right? So this is what the author talks about in terms of certainty, where when we get into this dialogue with the universe, I have this problem, you take care of it. I am not going to worry about it. I know you will take care of it for me, right? So that is the sort of dialogue that we need to engage in. And instead of the desired outcome, right, get me out of this trouble, or help me achieve this goal, instead of fixating on the desired outcome, focus more on how you want to feel. What is the sort of feeling that you would want to experience when you reach that state, right? So when you are talking with the universe, focus more on that feeling that you are expecting. Maybe you are expecting a sense of peace, expecting a sense of relief, right? So that is the feeling that you are looking for, rather than the desired outcome, because outcomes can be anything, right? So if we get too much fixated on the outcome, like things should turn out this way, then you are narrowing the choices, right? Narrowing the possibilities. Whereas if you say, this is how I want to feel at the end of this period in life, or at the end of this situation, then universe will figure out ways to help you reach that state of feeling. How it helps you, that is something beyond your control, but you will be able to experience the feeling that you are expecting. And the third most important thing is that don't get too fixated on your own personal agenda, or your own personal items, like, I want to be rich, or I want to have a larger follower, or think of the highest good, right? What is the highest good that you could do for the society, for the planet, right? So pray for that highest good. So all these factors will help you make sure that there is a certainty in the way you want to feel. There is a certainty in the way things would change. The second outcome that you would experience that we spoke about is synchronicity. This is like, it could be synchronicity you would experience in multiple ways. You might see certain signs. Like, for example, there is this, she has given a lot of examples. One that she talked about, where she wanted to see an owl. Okay, so the owl, so she prays for something, and if this is going to happen, then show me an owl. Then what happens is that wherever she goes, she would see an owl. So it could be, your favorite, things or objects, or it could be a sequence of numbers. Many people might have seen numbers like 111, 222, etc. Right? So there could be certain numbers which resonate more with you, and you would see those patterns everywhere, right? So this is how the universe speaks to you. This is how the universe sends you signs and signals. So um, these are the ways by which the universe speaks to you. Okay, so and when you start experiencing synchronicity, don't try to um, dig around too much into logic. How did this happen? How could this have happened? No, just embrace it and think of it as an intuitive direction given to you by the universe. Sometimes, we might think of these as miracles, but she says even a simple shift in your perception is a miracle, right? So you are like getting stuck in a series of thoughts, and a simple shift in perception comes by a random post by somebody on Instagram. Then you are like, your perception has shifted, and that in itself feels like a miracle, right? So these are the ways by which we experience synchronicity in our day-to-day life. And it is also best to practice non-interference, where we don't try to tinker around too much with the way the universe works. You just pray and you get out of the way, right? So when you have complete faith, when you don't interfere, what happens is that it keeps you in a state of relaxed state of mind. When you are in this relaxed state, then that is when you will be able to receive this universal guidance. When you are like, constantly thinking about, oh, should I do this, should I wait for some more time, should I try this, should I reach out to this person, like if you are grappling with a lot of thoughts, you're not in that relaxed state of mind. So then you're blocking the universal guidance. So chill, relax, don't interfere, have faith, um, and wait for the universe to speak to you at the right time. Okay, then the third most important is oneness, where this is actually this chapter is what I found to be a lot of valuable insights personally for me, where experiencing the state of oneness, where we we have that um, thought that everybody is the same, all of us are the same, all of us are one, right? um, this is when we experience more of this thought, then what happens is that we are um, connecting more with the universe. We have more ways to connect with the universe. So first of all, why don't we embrace this oneness? Because there is always this judgment, right? There is this me versus them, us versus them, right? So we judge ourselves, we judge others as well. And ego cannot survive without judgment. Ego wants to protect itself, so it always keeps looking for ways by which it could be harmed. So it keeps judging the situations, it keeps judging the people. And in today's times, most of the problems that we are seeing today is because of this constant judgment and constant separation that we are experiencing, right? Earlier, I find that there was a lot more tolerance. There was a lot more acceptance. People didn't interfere with each other's beliefs or trusts. But now, with this age of social media, there is a lot of interference that is happening. There is a lot of separation that is happening, right? Um, and why do we do this judgment? Because we want to avoid looking at our own faults. We want to avoid looking at our own pain. We don't want to face our own pain. So to avoid that, we start looking at everybody else. We start looking at the shortcomings of others, so that we don't have to do this hard task of looking at our own selves. So these are the reasons why we judge others. So what the author says is that she gives a four-step process, where she says, first of all, witness your judgment without judgment. So many times we think, okay, judgment is bad, and then when we come across that, okay, I have judged this person now, then we judge ourselves for having the judgmental thought, right? So first of all, witness your judgment without judgment, have that self-compassion. Then second step is forgive yourself for having the judgmental thought. Don't get too bogged down by or blame yourself for having the judgmental thought. Forgive yourself. It It happens. So as you keep observing yourself, noticing yourself, then over a period of time, the judgments will start reducing. And the third point, and this is something that I found to be, mind blowing, where whenever you're looking at somebody, think that you're seeing that person for the very first time. So, whenever we judge people, it is always that we are looking at them through the lens of the past. Maybe certain incidents have happened in the past, and we project those old experiences onto the current circumstances. So, when we look at that person now, we are not looking at them as of this moment. It is all about past. Oh, she spoke to me, that day this way, right? So all those thoughts keep adding up, and so we are not looking at the person as it is now. So when we think, okay, I'm not going to be biased by the thoughts of the past, I'm going to see that person for the first time, then all those judgments will stop. You will remember we spoke about centering practices in finding awareness, where we discussed about listening, seeing, observing, where we don't get biased by the past experiences, we give our full attention. So when we think of that person as though we are seeing them for the first time, then we'll be able to give full attention. We'll be able to observe things that we have not observed earlier. So this is the third point. And the fourth important point is that when we want to experience oneness, let's connect with this idea that all of us have the same desire. All of us want to be happy. All of us want to be free. So when we have this thought, then we automatically understand that yes, all of us are the same. And then we will start to be kind to one another. So there are a lot more aspects to oneness that she has shared. And I find that this particular chapter was something that really appealed to me. So this practice of oneness is something that we need to practice more and more, and avoiding judgments and avoiding the thoughts that separate people. The fourth aspect is about peace. So when we talk about spiritual practices, it is like, people get fixated too much on rituals. People get too much fixated on which is superior, which is inferior. But what the author recommends here is that do whatever it takes to get closer to consciousness, to get closer to this path of the universe, right? So don't judge your path. Don't try to be perfect. Don't try to think that I should follow this path because this person says so. So do what comes natural to you, right? And the commitment is that you need to be able to tune to this frequency of the universe. Just focus on this commitment alone. So whenever you have these thoughts of fear, or whenever you feel confused or stuck, you should be able to connect to this path, and you should be able to connect to this frequency and feel safe, feel secure, right? That is the objective. That is the commitment that you want to keep up with on a day-to-day basis. And once you do that, you experience peace. And any situation that comes your way, situation or any people or any circumstance that comes your way, it will not hinder this peace. Okay, so when you experience this connection to this frequency more and more, it reorganizes your energy, it lowers your stress level, it improves your immunity. You feel safe, you feel secure. This is how it manifests in the physical level. It activates your parasympathetic nervous system, right? You're not in that fight or flight mode, because you're surrendering. You feel at peace, you feel at ease. So your stress levels are lowered, your parasympathetic nervous system is activated. So you feel more at calm, you're relaxed, right? So this is how you experience peace when you connect, when you tune into this frequency of the universe. The other important outcome is humility, where once you start experiencing this feeling of oneness, you see that everybody are the same. Everybody is facing similar challenges and issues like you. then you will accept that you're not a very special person. Your problems and challenges are not special. So you don't feel that separation, right? And many times people might say all these things about being one, but what is the vibe that they are sending out? That is more important. So even for humility, she says that many people exude a sense of humility or being humble through their words. But what is the vibe that they are giving? Maybe there is a spiritual ego that comes out, right? So what is the vibe that they are sending out? These are things that we need to look at. Humility is not just expressed through words, but it is more expressed through our vibes. And this point where she talks about, um, if we come across situations where we feel uncomfortable, think of those situations as um, a window to identify those areas where we are not yet healed, right? So be grateful for those situations because it has opened up a window for you to look at areas where you need to work on, right? So this is how you could be humble, be open to uh, seeing things in a different perspective. And finally, she talks about surrender, where she says, when you think you have surrendered, surrender some more. Um, this is like this chapter on surrender is extremely important for people who are, controlling in nature, who want to be in charge of all situations. From my personal experience, what I have understood is that things that we can control are very limited. The things that are beyond our control are a lot more, right? Um, so in if those situations, many times our challenges come, we might be doing the right things, but if people around us say they are not taking care of their health, or they are not doing things that we want them to do, right? Then we get very angry. We feel that we have to pay the price for their actions, right? These are things that you might have experienced as well. So in those situations you feel helpless, right? So in those situations it is best to surrender. And we also get fixated on achieving our goals. So she says this is like, a perspective shifting line. Goals overshadow guidance. Take the time to absorb this, because it just took me you know time to absorb this, because we all know that goal setting is good, planning is good, but many times we get too fixated on it. We plan every single detail. What happens is that we then convince ourselves that yes, I have the ability to do what is best for me, right? So goals overshadow guidance. When we overplan, what happens is that we block this natural connection, natural order, and we say that this is how things should pan out. So if I do this, next this should happen, next this should happen. So this is the sort of over planning. What would happen is that then there could be limitless possibilities that we are just blocking ourselves from. So what she says is that yes, goals are important, but set your goals and surrender it to the universe. And then you take your hands off the steering wheel. Okay, just let go. Trust the path of the universe. Um, and many times we get fixated on the timing, right? We want our goals to happen at this particular time, right? If it doesn't happen within that time, then we get very jittery. So she says that have faith that everything is happening for you at the right time, at the right time when you will be able to grow or heal. So take your hands off the steering wheel, set the goal, surrender, and wait for it to happen. Let the universe decide the right time for you. And the other way to look at goals is that if we are looking at goals, and we invariably link achievement of goals to happiness. If this happens, then I will be happy. Then I will feel successful. Then I will feel on top of the world, right? So all these are the expectation of the outcome of the goals. So instead of looking at goals, focus on celebrating what you already have. This is like the practice of gratitude, where when we focus on what we have currently, and we are grateful for it, we thank the universe for it, then it creates more of what we want. So this is very important, how gratitude helps us to achieve our goals. Okay, and finally, change. This is like the last chapter, where we think that when we get into this path of spirituality, we don't have to worry about the world, where we don't have to be concerned about what's happening with the world. There are many spiritual practitioners who become disconnected with what is happening with the world, right? So they call themselves spiritual activists, but either they are apathetic or they are not um, uh, tuned into what's happening in the world. They are ignoring, they think that things will resolve by themselves. Let me just work on my own, right? So, first thing she says is that we change the world when we shift spiritually. That is the first step. First, we need to work on ourselves, where we look at our attitudes, we look at the areas where we hold on, where we are not able to forgive. What are the kind of wounds from the past from which we are yet to heal, right? These are the things that we start to look at and we start to improve upon, right? So when we start taking actions on these aspects, then that actually creates a change in the world, in the world in the sense people around us. But at the same time, um, we also need to look at what is happening around, speak up when necessary, right? So when we connect to the universe will inspire us to speak up when necessary. This is something that um, I have found personally, where suddenly there'll be some issue that would, for which I feel a compulsive need to speak up, where the universe uses me as a messenger to share something, right? So it is required for people to speak up when necessary. And we also look at what is happening around the world and we devote our prayers to people who need them. So the line that she beautifully says is that being conscious of the darkness in the world fuels our desire to bring more light, right? So it's not just because we become a spiritual practitioner doesn't mean that we sort of detach ourselves from the worldly activities. So we become an instrument for love. We ask the universe to make use of us for the highest good, right? So that is how we bring change in the world. So start working on yourselves first, make those changes, make understand yourselves, self awareness, self growth, all those aspects. As they move forward, we also look at what's happening around, also keeping our eyes open to understand how the world operates and where we can be the instrument, right? So this is how she concludes the book. I hope this was helpful. um, if there are any questions, we can discuss now. Okay, if no other questions, we'll stop here. There'll be no session next week due to Diwali, so we will resume the week after. So have a happy, safe, and a colorful Diwali. See you soon. Okay, thank you.
Thanks, Anu.